What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you guys are on a fantastic day today, and today we have quite a different video for you guys. I really hope you guys are excited for today's video nevertheless, because we do have some good stuff in here. Definitely a very unique situation, for me at least, and yeah, we're going to be diving straight into it, guys. So this video is going to be primarily about a upcoming trip that I will be a part of. However, I'm going to go into some other things as well in this video, pretty much just the whole sector of the summer 2021 real life aviation sector, for flying at least. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, like I said though, and we are going to begin. So for this trip to really be put in the context how I want it to be interpreted to you guys, I'm going to have to spend at least 10 minutes here explaining what is built up to this point in time. So if you want to hear just this trip announcement, I will put the timestamp and the chapters will be in this video if you just want to skip straight to that. But I highly recommend watching this sector of the video so you understand the reason of why this is the situation I'm going to be put into, pretty much, or I'm going to put myself into, I guess. So okay, let's start all the way back when I got sick with mono in early May 2021. Of course, as you guys know, I was super excited for summer. I had a lot of stuff planned. I had a lot of trips, model stuff, as you can tell, model airports, everything in between. I had the whole summer already ready to go, and I was in a really good groove, to say the least. I want to say it was probably in late May. In this section of the video, we're going to be talking about every real life trip I have had to forfeit because of my mono illness. And the reason I'm going to be presenting that in this video rather than another video, which I may still do another one for the complete details later on, but the reason that I want to do it in this video is because this trip, its significance would not make sense to you guys if I didn't explain this part of it. Like I said, just a different way to iterate that. So with that all being said, I'm going to give you guys the trips that I have not been able to take due to my mono illness. So in early May or late April, I think, I forgot when it was, but I made a reservation for a really cool day trip on Delta Airlines. I believe I posted a teaser on Instagram during that time frame, and I was just about to do the trip announcement before I got sick. But I do want to briefly mention what the aircrafts and the route was, so it makes sense to you guys how excited I was for this day trip. It was about $430, which I already had a $325 voucher from the previous summer because we had to cancel the Cabo trip in May of 2020. So that left me with a solid voucher, and this deal was absolutely wicked for the May 2021 schedule for Delta. And I really wanted to do it, but unfortunately I was not able to. So this was the itinerary. It was a Delta Airlines 717 from Tulsa to Atlanta that left at 6 a.m. and got to Atlanta at 9:10. And then it was a Delta Airlines Airbus A330-200, would have been my first heavy from Atlanta to Minneapolis. That left Atlanta at 11 and it got to Minneapolis at, I believe, about 1 o'clock. And then I was going to have a solid 3-hour layover in MSP, do some more terminal spotting there, and along with Atlanta, of course. And then a Delta Airlines 767-300ER from Minneapolis to Atlanta. I was super excited about that. That was a 4:45 departure, and it got into Atlanta at I think 7:45, 8 o'clock-ish. And then we had another Delta 717 from Atlanta to Tulsa that left late at night, like 10 o'clock, and got into Tulsa at like 10:45 or so. So that was the first trip I was not able to take. It was really awesome. I was super excited. I guess that one good thing to look at is weather wasn't great for Atlanta or MSP on that day. None of the flights got delayed or anything, so it would have worked out pretty well, but it's very unfortunate that I wasn't able to get to fly my first heavies. And it was really unfortunate. I was eyeing the second itinerary that I'll talk about in this video during that time, so I knew if I wasn't able to do it, I would have some compensation, but we'll get to that later on in the video. So while that was unfortunate, that's just how it happened. So that's already the first trip I missed. And that point, initially I was very frustrated, but that was just the beginning. As bad as I hate to say it, that was just the beginning of the mono. Then I got the feeling better and immediately reserved the Breeze inaugural trip, the last trip announcement that I did, because I thought that I was going to be able to do that. Turns out I got sick again, or another big time wave got the better of me, and I was not able to do that. The full trip announcement on that was on the channel, I should say. But it was a Breeze Emerald 195, the inaugural Breeze Airways outbound flight out of Tulsa International Airport to Tampa International Airport. American Airlines A321 from Tampa to Dallas, and American A320 from Dallas to Tulsa. All in economy, of course. Was super excited for that, but unfortunately, Mono took that one from me as well. So that's already 2 trips right there. Really, really rough, but that's just how it happened. And then the next trip that we did was the next trip that I was planning was, there was a couple proposals that I had throughout the latter part of Q2 that I was thinking about if I was able to do. They would have been awesome. But here's just a couple of ideas. One thing that I was looking at towards the end of April was a Southwest Airlines day trip. I think I briefly mentioned this at some point. From Tulsa to Denver to St. Louis to Dallas, Upfield, back to Tulsa. That was something I really wanted to do. I thought it would be a bunch of fun. Had an absolutely awesome itinerary for $223, I think. And I didn't jump on it. I let it go, and it soared up to $400. So hopefully I can do a Southwest day trip at some point, but that would have been around early June. So nevertheless, I wouldn't have been able to do it anyways, but it was still something I was eyeing and still thinking about potentially doing if I found a good deal. And then another thing that I want to do is I want to do some sort of low-cost day trip through Dallas. Mainly just one of these 3 that I'm talking about, between Southwest, this one, and then a United. I really want to do at least one of these, but of course, they're not happening, at least for the moment. So one thing that I wanted to do was a low-cost day trip. Since American has so many frequencies on Dallas to Tulsa, I thought it'd be a really cool idea to get to Dallas early in the morning at some point, like 8 a.m., and then do a day trip out west with some low-cost carriers. So what I was thinking was I could do Frontier from Dallas to Las Vegas, try out Frontier, and then I wanted to do Sun Country or Spirit on the way back from Las Vegas to Dallas, and then back up to Tulsa. So on American, of course. Unfortunately, the times when it's really hard to coordinate those low-cost carriers, so wouldn't have probably worked out anyways, but it was still something I was looking into. Or another thing that I was kind of thinking about was maybe just a simple day trip to Denver, fly United or Southwest up to Denver, and then come back on Frontier. That was something that I wanted to do as well, but that's something I may be able to do this winter or something. So those are a couple ideas that I had as well. And then the next big idea that I was really, really eyeing for a long time till the date got too close to make a justifiable decision was a United Airlines day trip. I found a really good itinerary for a really solid $385. Would have been Tulsa to Houston, United 737-900, Houston to Chicago, United Airlines Boeing 777, 200 ER, United 757-300 from Chicago back to Houston. I wanted to do something through Denver, but there was not the best options in the world. And then Houston back to Tulsa on the United 737-800. Now, the original United day trip I was looking at before I got really sick was Tulsa, Houston 737-900, Houston to Newark, United 787-9. That would have been a bunch of fun. Newark to Chicago, United Airlines 757-200, United Airlines CRJ 550 from Chicago to Tulsa. I really wanted to fly the GoJet 550, and then on top of that, a 757, a 737, and a 787. The price was a little high. I think it was about $500, but I would have been willing to pay that. That's really good with that Newark involved. So, but obviously, those 3 trips, or proposals I should say, all got wiped out due to mono. I at least wanted to do one. I was really leaning towards the United, but unfortunately, things just happened the way they happened. So that's been eliminated. And then I was also planning, I was really trying to do the inaugural San Antonio turn for Breeze Airways out of Tulsa. I thought it would be fun to do the New Orleans sector, but as time got closer, one idea that I did have was do Tulsa, let me explain this part of it first. If you didn't watch the Tulsa update I posted a couple weeks ago. Breeze Airways brings in an aircraft from New Orleans early in the morning. That's the inbound New Orleans flight. Then the aircraft does a turn to San Antonio, so it flies from Tulsa to San Antonio, and then it comes right back from San Antonio to Tulsa. And then it goes back to New Orleans. So what I was thinking was it would be really cool initially if I would have felt decent. This is probably what I would have wanted to do. Tulsa, San Antonio, come right back to Tulsa, then go on to New Orleans, and then what I wanted to do was do Delta 757 from New Orleans to Atlanta and Delta 717 from Atlanta to Tulsa. As time continued to tick on, I was still really sick. So what I did was, if possible, what I wanted to do was do the San Antonio turn, if you will. So Tulsa, San Antonio, and come right back. Would have been a really good jump start to get me back going. But unfortunately, I still wasn't feeling very good last week. And blessing in disguise is the inaugural flight actually did not happen for Tulsa. Oklahoma City and Northwest Arkansas's flights were very, very late. I don't know why. But Tulsa's did not happen on July 15th. They ended up happening on July 16th. I don't know the reason. I'm going to take a guess that there was some sort of filing issue, maintenance issue, weather, something along those lines happened in New Orleans, and the plane didn't end up making it out. Maybe it was weather because the Oklahoma City and Northwest Arkansas flights, like I said, but the reason Northwest Arkansas was late was because Oklahoma City got in late, so pretty much that same aircraft is flying the Northwest Arkansas flights. Same system, comes in from New Orleans, San Antonio turn, goes back to New Orleans. The Oklahoma City aircraft did it earlier in the day, and then the Northwest Arkansas aircraft was later in the day, so since the Oklahoma City aircraft was delayed, it's a chain link effect for the Northwest Arkansas. But nevertheless, still got delayed, so that leads us to where we are right now, because like I said, I wasn't able to do San Antonio a turn, which was unfortunate, but it is a blessing in disguise though, because the inaugural flight didn't happen on the day that I was supposed to. So I would have been able to rebook, got up there for Friday, but nevertheless, here we are now. So we're already here to the family trip. I've mentioned this in the Breeze inaugural trip announcement. I've mentioned it on Instagram multiple times, how excited I've been for this, and hopefully at this point I would feel better, but times continue to pass, and I still don't feel great, obviously. So if it was my decision and my consent, I would not do this at the current time, because I would really want to enjoy a vacation like this, whether it was by myself or not, but nevertheless, I would really want to enjoy the experience of flying when I feel decent, rather than, I'm not saying going through the motions, but, just not feeling good as it is right now. But my parents really want me to push to try my best to make the best experience out of it I can. So I want to give it my best shot. So that is what we're going to do on the family trip. And I thought I would do this trip announcement because I wanted to give you guys the full insight on what is going on. So here is how the cookie crumbles for this trip. So back in about April, we were planning a trip to, we wanted to go to Florida, or at least my family did during this time frame. I was still planning to go to Florida not only for the Breeze inaugural, but also I wanted to do a Delta 757 767 day trip in the winter. So I was already planning on going to Florida at least a couple times, but this is on a full-on vacation. We haven't flown as a family in quite some time, so they wanted to do the Florida vacation. So obviously I'm on board, because I'm a part of the family, but on top of that, we had a really good proposal. So this is pretty much this is how the cookie crumbles for the full story. So my whole family, we are going to go to Daytona Beach here very soon, but what they wanted to do was for the weekend go to Daytona Beach this upcoming weekend, as I'll explain here in a minute. But what on top of that wanted to be done was my dad needed to get back for work, so he was going to fly home on Monday, and the rest of the family was going to go on to Orlando and spend a few days there throughout the week, because the rest of them don't have commitment jobs. So what the proposal was I was going to fly with the family on the normal flights that I'll present to you guys here in a minute, and that was the plan as for the whole time. That was how it was going to happen. And then following as such, I was going to fly back by myself on a really, really cool itinerary with American. So everything was stated through American, because that's my parents' airline. Or rather, I should say, that's where they have all the credit cards and everything. That's how they have all of the miles. That's how they usually do all their flights, is with American with the miles. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to say before we start with this announcement. The return leg, I think, will make much more sense if you guys watch this first portion of the video, because it's so significant. This has been something I'm hopeful maybe I'm able to still do, but something that I've been looking for, because looking forward to, especially after the Delta Day trip, because this has been something I have really wanted to do. But let's get into the announcement. So let's start with the outbound leg. This is solidified. This is how it's going to go. Me and my whole family are on these 2 flights, and this is how it was always going to be, was I was going to fly with the family outbound, and that is still the case at this point. So let's get started with the outbound legs. Thursday, July 22nd, 2021. Regardless of how I'm feeling, if I'm dying, I'm probably still gonna have to push to make it happen and hopefully enjoy it to the best of my ability. So, like I said, we're going to Daytona Beach first with the whole family for the weekend. So here we go. American Airlines Flight 1572 on a Boeing 737-800 from Tulsa International Airport, departing at 8:10 a.m. to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport at 9:32 a.m. Approximate arrival of a travel time blocked at an hour and 22 minutes. We're currently in economy, and I'm currently seated in seat 25F. Now, I haven't got to fly an American 737 since, if I'm not mistaken, it would have been July of 2019, so slightly over 2 years now. Actually, as the day I'm recording this on July 19th, that was the last day I flew an American 737 when we went to Nashville. So, trip report's on the channel if you want to check it out. But nevertheless, my point is I haven't got to fly one in quite some time. Now, it's 737. I completely understand if you want to, if anybody has higher expectations or lower expectations than that, that's perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is I'm excited for it. I hope I can enjoy it to the best of my ability. Of course, planning to film a TUL check-in vlog along with a trip report for this American 737, and then all the pushback, takeoff and landing, all that fun stuff. What I was going to say was the Dallas and Phoenix day trip stuff. I've been periodically working on it, but the trip report and the layover vlog takes so much time that I haven't got enough time to work on them. So hopefully I'll be able to upload those soon, but I'll keep you guys in the loop on that content. So that is the first flight. Very excited for it. That was always how it was going to be. Keep in mind, that was always the always how it was going to be stated. So very excited for that. And then we have a very solid 3-hour layover in Dallas before we get on a very unique flight. This is one that I'm also very excited for. If I had to pick a regional jet flight out of Dallas to fly on, this would be the one that I would pick because of how unique it is. American Airlines Flight 5452, operated by PSA Airlines, as PSA has invaded Dallas in the summer schedule. Very unique flight of one of their few destinations out of Dallas-Fort Worth. Departing Dallas at 12:57 p.m. and arriving into Daytona Beach at 4:45 p.m., blocked at 2 hours and 48 minutes in economy, seat 19F. So, as you guys know, PSA does not have a huge establishment at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airlines, or not Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. What I was trying to say was Mesa Airlines has the main establishment for the CRJ-900s. However, due to the summer schedule, American trying to rotate some planes through some different places, they have some different routes set up to where PSA comes through Dallas. And this isn't the first time this has happened. They also did this pre-pandemic a little bit. But this is the first time in quite some time that PSA has been back in Dallas. So very cool to see this. I'm really excited for this flight. I was on a PSA CRJ-900 back in July of 2017 from Charlotte to Myrtle Beach, and that was a great experience. I don't know which tail numbers have the atmosphere cabin, but I would love to get that cabin. The 737, I'm pretty sure all of them are Oasis already, so there we go on that. Maybe I'll get a special delivery. The CRJ-900, I'll hopefully get an atmosphere, but if not, we will definitely most certainly take the... Actually, I'll look on Seagrew, but I think I already did, if I'm not mistaken. It's the normal one, which I wouldn't be surprised. But that is a longer flight, so I would say it's not impossible. But those are the first 2 flights. That was always how it was going to be, was me and the family. We're going to fly on these 2 flights. I'm still very excited for them, and I'm hopeful that I'm able to enjoy them to the best of my ability. Keep in mind that the video publishing... As of the publishing of this video, I should say, this is in 2 days, and you can already see how I feel. So hopefully I'm able to enjoy it to the best of my ability. But that was always how the first 2 flights were going to be. Like I said, I just want to clearly iterate that because there's a huge difference on the return flight that we will explain right now. just wanted to come in for a minute real quick because I did want to explain that Daytona Beach is only an hour from Orlando. So we have a condo at Daytona Beach for the weekend, and then we're going to drive down to Orlando, or at least the rest of the family, I should say, in the rental car down to Orlando, and then they'll give the rental car back to the Orlando airport when everybody else flies home on Friday. So just wanted to clarify that as we continue to proceed here. Alrighty guys, so here we go with the return. So this is where it gets really interesting. So like I said, the intention was for me and the rest of the family outside of my dad to go on to Orlando on Monday, June 26th, the day that he leaves out of Daytona Beach. Now the intention was I was going to spot at Orlando MCO on one of the days that I was there, and then I was going to come back on Thursday, July 29th. Which is my 4-year anniversary on YouTube, but nevertheless, that was the day that I was supposed to come home. And for a variety of reasons, I may or may not do that out of Orlando. Now I'll explain. So we've kind of came to this conclusion that I either will probably really finally get going a little bit after these first couple flights and may be able to feel decent once we get to Daytona Beach. We're honestly not sure. I can't predict my health. So between I got camps coming up the next week after this last week of July, and the first week of August, and then the second week of August school starts for me. So I have that. So between that and just the overall factor of how much variation is between these two return options, that is why we're going to have both options, because I don't know how I'm going to be feeling, especially after the first part of this trip coming back. So pretty much we have it slated as two options. So originally what I was going to do was to stay with the family, go spotting in Orlando one day, and then I was going to fly home by myself on a really cool itinerary that I found for Thursday, July 29th. However, we have opened up another avenue for me to fly home with my dad just in case I'm not feeling very well, feel like I need some companionship on the way back, and just a shorter day overall. So I'm going to start with the less exciting, if you will, but nevertheless the avenue of if I don't feel well still, if I feel like I need a shorter day, if I feel like I'll feel more comfortable flying home with my dad, I'm going to start with that option because that is the option that I may or may not utilize. So we reserved this option because obviously, like I said, I wasn't intending on doing this, but because of how easy it is to refund miles with American Airlines, all it is one cancel button. We thought that having both these options would be a very useful and less stressing option for me, because I can make the decision as late as Sunday night whether I want to fly home with my dad or try to push through, go on to Orlando and stay a few more days and fly home with myself and a really cool itinerary. But I apologize, my computer is being slow as per usual. Ready for that MacBook upgrade. That's probably coming at Christmas, but nevertheless, I'll actually just venture off and talk about that for a minute. So I'm still using my Acer Nitro 5. I love the computer. It's been an absolute workhorse. It's probably been the best computer I've ever had. And I really want to stay Windows, but at the same time, I really want to go Mac because of how doable the UI is, because we wouldn't have to sit here and wait for 2 minutes for the American Airlines website to load. This could actually be an American Airlines website issue. I honestly don't know. So I'll do jump cuts when I have it pulled up. Alrighty, so I restarted my router and that fixed it. It still took 10 seconds, but that is a lot better than 3 minutes. So here we go, everybody. So like I said, I have presented myself with two options depending on how I feel to return back to Tulsa. The first option would be to fly out of Daytona Beach with my dad on Monday, or to fly by myself on the itinerary we will take a look at on Thursday. So here we go, everybody. Monday, July 26, 2021. This is where the play it by ear in the title, which should be like down here somewhere, like down here, I don't even know, is going to come into effect, because I am not sure if I will fly on this itinerary or if I'll fly on the other itinerary. I'll talk about which one I personally think will happen at the end of the video. But for the current time, and I forgot to state in all of this, there will be layover vlogs. The layover vlog part. But layover vlogs will be here. All the content that I've talked about in the previous trip announcements and that you guys have seen on the channel, I do have plans on filming to the best of my ability during this, but I may not film as much if I need the rest during a flight or something along those lines, or I probably will not be able to do as much spotting as I typically do, because I don't think I'll have enough gas to do the Skylink 5 times, but maybe at least once. I will push through. I will have Dad come with me if we have to. And speaking of which, if we're going to get to the right concourse, there's a good chance that we'll have to take the dang thing anyway. So I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that I'm just ready to feel better. But that's besides the point. Monday, July 26, 2021. This would be 4 days later after we arrive. American Airlines Flight 5038, operated by PSA Airlines. Once again, this is the outbound departure. This actually is not a turn out of Dallas. The plane comes in from Charlotte, goes to Dallas, and I think it goes to Jackson, Mississippi, or maybe Birmingham. It's somewhere in that range, wherever PSA has that ops at, or not ops, but wherever they're flying them through, and then it goes back to Charlotte or Philly, I think. But nevertheless, 3:45 p.m. and then it arrives at 5:35 p.m. Central Time back into Dallas. 2 hours and 50-minute block, and I got the last economy window seat, 20A. I believe it was the last economy seat, the non-preferred ones available. So got lucky with that, and it's a good view. It's on the other side and just one seat back. So if I do end up flying on this flight, I may try to go to the front rather than the back this time, because of course I may do it the other way. I may do the CRJ 900 on the way there. Actually, on the way there, regardless, I'll stay in the back because I want that cool wing view. But on the way there, or on the way back, I may go get a preferred seat in the front so I can have a cool wing view of that. But nevertheless, 20A as of right now, and then we will have a relatively short for my standards, but for the general person, this is probably about average. Hour and 30-minute layover that will turn into an hour with boarding time. Sorry about that, guys. Nevertheless, like I said, about an hour layover. This personally, for me, in a normal state, would not be something I would do, but in terms of flying with my dad, who's just ready to get home, this is perfect for him. But nevertheless, American Airlines Flight 2400. I know this flight number has been around on this particular flight for a long time. I think the ironic thing is I have not flown on it once. I've flown 1446, which is the 9:30-ish arrival, numerous times over the years. I think 4 or 5 times. I may have flown 2400 at some point. I don't recall if I did, but nevertheless, 6:57 out of Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport and arriving into Tulsa at 8:10 p.m. You guessed it, another 737-800. 1 hour, 13 minutes, and currently in 38, that is way back. If I do end up flying on this one, I will probably definitely get 16F or something. It's been a while since I've sat in a 737 main cabin EDGE. At least I think. Let me think really hard here. When was the last time that I've done main cabin EDGE on a 737? I think it was when I went to Charlotte from Tulsa on that IFE 737 I got to fly on. I was in 16F. I think that was the last time. Nevertheless, though, regardless of it, I will probably do main cabin EDGE for sure on that one, and potentially on the 900 too. Even though that's a short flight, 30 is way... Sorry about that, guys. I got to get a better USB hub or something. I don't know what the deal with the microphone is. Nevertheless, 30 is way back there. It's like, I think the last row is 33 on Oasis. That is way back there. So it would be fine, but I would rather have at least a decent wing view. That's where 25 is really decent, but 30 is way back there. So nevertheless, that is the first itinerary. So if I don't feel great, if I don't want to say necessarily ready to get home, but am a little anxious about life, that will be the option I will likely pick. But as bad as I hate to say it, it's kind of likely. This is what sucks. I'm not a play it by ear person, as you guys can tell, and this is something that I guess it will make me a stronger person, having this having to be patient with life. But this is kind of where we're at. So that was not the original plan, but that option is presented. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about the original plan. So back in late May, I was sick. Nevertheless, we were looking for the itinerary for me to go to Orlando, do some spotting at MCO, and then fly home from Orlando on a really, really cool itinerary. Now, I am still shocked that I was able to get this original deal. It was absolutely bonkers that this was possible. So when I was looking at potential flight itineraries home, there was one that I found that I really liked, and I kept doing it on the website. And I'm going to explain this part of it first, then the aircraft, because that will just be, I feel like it'll come out a little bit more, I guess you guys will see it from my perspective a little bit better. But I kept seeing this upgrade at the bottom. The base fare, I think, was like, or the normal economy fare was like 200 or so, 193. I think it was 193. There's this upgrade at the bottom that said upgrade the first class for an additional $200. Now, if you guys, when you guys see this, that will be very eye-opening for why I was so intrigued by that. So I thought I would take a look at miles because, you know, this is a family vacation. Very fortunate that I'm not paying for it. But the miles back on these itineraries was stupid. Stupid good, I should say. The economy was a decent, solid price that we'll talk about here in a minute. The first class was absolutely ridiculously low for what normal first class is. I don't know why it was, but it was. So this was the itinerary. I was dead set on it the moment I found it for this price, and we made it happen. And it was on May 23rd, 2021. But here we go. Departing from Orlando, Florida on Thursday, July 29th, 2021 on American Airlines flights 2894, Boeing 737 MAX 8. I am super excited if I'm still able to go on it, but that was awesome to begin with. Departing Orlando at 6:41 a.m., arriving into Miami at 7:50 a.m., an hour 9-minute block, but I think it's like a 30-minute flight. First class, seat 4A. That's just the beginning. The price that I got both these flights for, that seat by itself is probably worth. But getting this next seat on top of it for this many miles was shook by. This is the flight I've been looking forward to the whole entire summer. And it's going to be very sad if I'm not able to go on it. But nevertheless, we'll still have the memory of it at one time being a possibility. American Airlines, or rather I should say before that, tried to do some Orlando spotting in the morning, maybe just a little bit, and then do some Miami spotting for about 2 hours, which would be absolutely awesome. Actually, yeah, about 2 hours or so. 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Do some awesome terminal spotting. That was the original intent. And then American Airlines flight 1753 from Miami at 11:20 a.m. to Dallas Fort Worth at 1:21 p.m. on the Boeing 777-300ER. Oh man, I have always wanted to fly a 777, more so American's 300ER. I've been super excited for this. Even if I'm not able to go, it's still an awesome memory to think that. On top of that, business class sold as first class, seat 7J, right in front of the GE90. Oh my gosh. I'm praying to feel better right now. I am praying. I got both these flights for 25,000 miles. That is ridiculous, putting it in the retrospective. The max by itself, 25,000 is a normal deal. More so to get both these flights for 25,000 miles is wicked. I can't believe that I was able to do that. But we did, and they're here. One thing that I did try to do the other day, this is why it took me a few days to make a trip announcement, I wanted to move this itinerary to Tuesday so I would be able to cut down on days, and if I felt decent, just come home on this itinerary. But I kind of thought at the end of the day, I wasn't able to because the combo of these two flights together linked up was not available on American's website anymore, which is really unfortunate. But the original intention was, I would be able to, I wouldn't have to wait an extra 2 days and was able to get home to do some adequate resting. But nevertheless, we still have it for Thursday. Still an amazing deal. I cannot believe I got it for 25,000 miles. That is just absolutely wicked to me. Through Miami, 777-300ER and the MAX, both in first class. Well, the business class for the 777, but essentially that's pretty much a absolute monumental domestic first class. I can't describe how sad I'm going to have to be if I have to let this go. This has been something I've been looking forward to ever since I've seen the itinerary. But if I don't feel good enough, my ultimate goal is going to be to build up to hopefully do it at some point here in the future. And then let's talk about the Dallas layover. Getting in at 121, I thought originally my plan was to do a absolutely monumental, sorry about that, but what I was saying was do an absolutely monumental day of spotting at Dallas Fort Worth. Originally I wanted to do spotting all the way up until 8:50 p.m. to get on the Airbus A320 flight, which we'll talk about right now. I think it's American Airlines flight, I believe, is it? I want to say it's 1446, but I'm going to confirm that because I honestly have not looked enough, but I'm pretty sure it's 1446 at 10 o'clock. There was the same one in the same flight in the, what's it called? The Breeze inaugural trip report. It is 1446 on the Airbus A320. That was the original flight I wanted to get on, and I found a deal for 15,000 miles in first class on the A320, which that's a good deal. That's a good deal. Not the best, but really good deal. So I took that, and the ultimate plan was to make this just probably the best trip that I was going to have in such a long time on the return leg. Do some awesome spotting in Miami and Dallas, especially from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock in the evening. It would have been just a full-on gauntlet. I probably would have done Skylink 15 times, but nevertheless, that long of a day by itself, I evaluated would have been way too much. I have no idea how I would make it from 5 a.m. in the morning, Eastern time, keep in mind, so really 4 a.m., all the way to 11 o'clock at night, 12 Eastern, if you will. That's like 19, 20 hours. I had a hard time when I was healthy doing 18 hours on the Dallas and Phoenix day trip. I did it, recovered, made it happen, but that was hard. More so to look at me right now how I am and imagining 20 hours happening is a long shot. I don't think I would make it, but maybe, I don't know. But as bad as I liked the A320 first class flight, it was just simply too late. It got in at 10 o'clock. It just did not make sense. It really didn't. As bad as I wanted it to, it just simply was not the right option. So here's what I've reevaluated to. Luckily, the miles, especially in economy, are still low for all the Dallas to Tulsa flights on July 29th. I did that as a separate reservation because I could not get the MAX and the 333 at those select times to pair with. American's availability system's pretty weird. Not weird, but it's more convenient for most travelers. It's paired as such as where all the times are very close together, opposed to how I was going for it with more spread out flights and times. So, of course, I couldn't get them all as one pair, so what I did was multiple reservations. So, I had the A320 on its own reservation. It was 15,000 miles, really solid deal. I was in 3F for the time, or is it F? I think it's F. Nevertheless, 3F for the time being, and that's just how it happened. Like I said, though, that would be way too long of a day. Even if I was able to do it, it just didn't make practical sense in my eyes. Bad as I wanted to do it, it just didn't make sense. So like I said, the Dallas to Tulsa legs are still really reasonable, 7,500 miles. I had that many, I think, in my account. Nevertheless, though, I was hopeful that I would be able to get on one of these flights, and obviously that would be it would be doable. So here's the situation. So originally what I wanted to do is, here's the flight. So the ones that at least were in consideration. There's a 2:30 and 3, or a 4 o'clock departure, or it's 3:44, I think. Those are pretty early for spotting time at least, and connections and everything. Those are pretty early. There's a 4:38 Airbus A319 departure, and that gets in Tulsa about 6 o'clock. So if I was going for the earliest option, was still pretty solid adequate spotting time, roughly 2.5 hours, that would be the option. I've flown quite a few A319s, don't get me wrong, they're great planes, but here's the option that I was kind of intrigued by. There's a 550 Embraer 175 flight that I've really wanted to get on an Envoy 175 for quite some time now. Another 175 in general. I've only been on one with Delta Connection operated by SkyWest back in June 2019. And they were awesome. So I really wanted another 175 to branch out my total aircraft flown collection, if you will. So I wanted to do that as well. And then there's a 737, the one that we previously discussed that my dad's on Monday, regardless of whether I'm with him or not. And then there's the 850, A320. And then if you really want to push it, I think it's like 10 o'clock, 737-800. So I wanted the Envoy 175 from the start because I knew I'd have a lot more opportunities to fly to 319. I flew 2 in February, and I really wanted the Envoy 175. The 657's not too late at that point. It's a little late, but just a little bit later than what I wanted. Speaking of which, when I was doing the original itinerary with the A320, I was back and forth a lot between the 737 and the A320, but I ended up going with the A320 because that's such a unique aircraft route combo for American, still relatively new. And that was the one that I wanted, especially flying a 737 on the way there, trying to get as much variety as possible. And of course, the Envoy flight. While I was actually trying to do that one point, I thought that it would be cool to do the A320 and have a solid amount of time spotting in Dallas, roughly, 6 hours. So the A319 438 flight and the 737 657 flight for that day by themselves were 7.5 miles, 7,500 miles in economy, which is fine. I did have the A320 in first class, but the first class for these, they're not horrible deals, but they're not great. They were about 20 to 25,000 miles for first class. And I thought for such a short flight, is it really worth it? Probably not. Then the Envoy 175 has been 15,000. I've been stocking the flight. It's down to 13,000 today, but I thought for the practical sense, it's an hour earlier. Even though I really do want that time to do some spotting, do I really have the energy after waking up at 5 a.m. to do it? Maybe not, but nevertheless, I have decided for the moment, this may change, I'll keep you guys informed on my IG story if it does, to do the Airbus A319 438 departure. Now, like I said, I really want to do the Envoy flight. If the miles go down, I will cancel this one and do that one. And if I really wanted to get stupid, or not stupid, just kind of goofy with it, I keep both of them, and on the day of, whichever, or before check-in, whichever one I want to do, I'll pick it. I would probably pick the Envoy for the variety, but nevertheless, currently have American Airlines flight 557, 438 departure out of Dallas-Fort Worth and arriving in Tulsa at 5:48 p.m., hour and 10 minutes, seat 21F. 22 is available. I may take 22. You guys know I love 22, but for the moment I have 21 because there was a middle seat open on that side. That was 7.5 miles in economy. It's a short flight, so I mean the max was 2. Don't get me wrong, but that wing view is absolutely crazy. I watched Jeb Brooks' trip report from Miami to where was it? He went somewhere in the Caribbean, but he was in 4A and it was awesome. So I thought, especially for the pair deal, because I think the 777-300 business class sold as first class by itself was like 40,000 miles in first class, looking at it by itself. So I thought it would make a lot of sense to try to do them together. And that is how the cookie is crumbled. That is the full itinerary. I know this video was long. I appreciate you bearing with me if you have. Regardless, as long as I don't completely die or something, I will be attempting to go on this trip and enjoying it to the best of my ability, but also making content. I know from your guys' perspective, it's going to be pretty obvious which one you guys want me to pick, but you guys have to also look at it from my perspective. I like to evaluate all my options, regardless of whether I'm sick or not. And one thing that I've concluded about this is, if I don't feel good, is it really worth it to spend the experience of something I would rather experience full-fledged maybe as soon as next summer, right now when I'm not in my best place? And I've found a lot more pros to waiting than cons. Of course, 777-300s are not going to be flying domestic flights next summer. I am very aware of that. Maybe there may be a chance, but in all reality, it's not very likely. But I'm still thinking at some point maybe I can get a 777-200 or maybe go to London with the 333. I mean, I really want to fly that first class. So it's just a waiting game to see what happens. Another thing that my parents brought up to me that I kind of thought about was maybe I could do the 787 from Orlando to Chicago and then the CRJ 700 back to Tulsa. But I just thought at that point, why would I not save my first heavy experience for when I feel good? Especially, I mean, at that point as well, I also brought up, I was like, at that point, why would I not just do the 777, And that's kind of where I'm at, is depending on how I feel is what I know. I'll have the gut feeling on which one I'll be able to do after having the first experience with the flight to Daytona Beach. And whatever I feel comfortable with is what I will do. I just have such a hard time justifying doing something that I wouldn't enjoy to my fullest potential. And you know, a 737 and a CRJ-900, they will be around for times to come. And I have flown them multiple times. But I've never flown a MAX. I've never flown a 777-300, more so in first class, and an A320 in first class. That was something that I was very, very excited to do this summer, because my plans, as you guys can tell, for this summer were absolutely huge. But everything, it's been nothing. I haven't got to do very much. And I am very, very, how should I word this? I am very aware of the fact that it could be much worse. I've stated that through many of these update videos. But in terms of this, I can't justify not having the time, you know, pretty much the time of my life on the 777. And I want to save that experience for when it is the right time. And everything will happen for a reason here. I know the pieces will fall into the right places for me. And if I just need to do another CRJ-900 and 737, that's what I'll do. But I'll keep you guys informed on what I end up choosing at some point. I may do an actual video, I may not, I'm not sure. Unfortunately, this is probably going to be the last fully edited video till I get back from vacation. My original plan was to have a lot of stuff pre-recorded for this week. As you can tell, there's only been, on average, about 2 videos a week. So, as of right now, I'm planning on probably an update video in Daytona Beach at some point. I really want to get Dallas set up, but we only have a couple days left, and as you can tell, that has not really happened to this point. But that is this trip announcement. This has most certainly been the most interesting one, in my opinion, I think I've done to this point. You know, we've had unexpected trips before. We've had solidified family trips before. We've had the last MD-80 flight before. The Dallas and Phoenix day trip. But nothing to the caliber of this. And like I said, if it was my ultimate decision, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do any of this at this current time with how my health is at the current time. But in all reality, maybe it's finally the push that I need to get my mind off this illness, and maybe, just maybe, I will be able to break out of this mono illness. But according to the blood work test that I've done, it's still in my system, it's still going through, and I'm still trying to fight it off, so hopefully that day will come sooner than later. But that is the trip announcement, everybody. Let me know if you guys agree with my verdicts and my outtakes on this whole trip. It's something that I wouldn't have ever thought that I would have had to evaluate to this point, but that's just how the world works. These curveballs continue to come at me, and I'm just trying my best to catch them and hopefully do the best that I can. Try not to give up any grand slams, but that's been very difficult. Yeah, I still feel like a freight train just ran me over and I can't get out from under it, and it's been a very difficult time. But I'm sure I'll make the right decision, and nevertheless, the one thing that will come out of this is there's going to be so much fun stuff in the future, hopefully heavies in the future, hopefully more videos to come, and we'll get over it. We will find the better, we will get on the better side of this. I can guarantee you that. I don't know how long it will be, I don't know when it will be, but I know for a darn fact that I will feel better one day, and hopefully, just hopefully, get back to the normal avenues and hopefully solidified trip announcements. But that will do it for this trip announcement, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know what you guys thought, and sorry about that, guys. I will get that microphone fixed. But nevertheless, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if anybody came from Instagram, because I'm not going to announce this trip on Instagram because I don't want, there's so many questions, I don't feel like it's practical. If you are here from Instagram, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. But nevertheless, this is probably a 50-minute video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and fingers crossed that maybe, just maybe, we will get to fly the flagship in business class. But I'm kind of lost. But nevertheless, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully the next true video will be out sometime in the coming weeks. But praying, continuing to have positive thoughts, and like I said, we will get on the better side of this. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time as Redriveraviation is signing off.
you.